Emergency Declaration is the latest movie of Han Jae-rim, who is also the director of The Show Must Go On, 2007, The Face Reader, 2013, and The King, 2017. Having the plot of a zombie apocalypse, Emergency Declaration is often said to be the second train to Busan but in the air instead of on the rail. So does this comparison imply appreciation or contempt? Let's find out right now. A brief summary of Emergency Declaration. In Emergency Declaration, the incident happened on flight number potassium iodide from Korea to Hawaii. Midway through the journey, a passenger developed many strange symptoms such as high fever, hemorrhage and eventually died. In the blink of an eye, the disease spread throughout the plane, sparking chaos both in the air and on the ground. Turns out, a terrorist named Ryu Jin-sok released a deadly virus into the air and was quickly discovered by Jae-hyuk. Immediately on the ground, police inspector In Ho aggressively conducted an investigation to rescue those trapped on the flight. Emergency Declaration belongs to the disaster genre, which is no longer new to the cinema world. However, while Hollywood tends to turn natural disasters into the backdrop of a heroic messiah, in Korean movies, disasters like these always create hundreds of more complicated problems, and in that picture, there is no concept of a lone hero. Emergency Declaration started shooting in early 2020, right before the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic on a worldwide scale. This is a paradoxical situation when the production of a movie about a dangerous infectious disease was interrupted by a deadly pandemic in real life. Sharing about this coincidence, director Han Jae-rim admitted, "I can't help but feel surprised when witnessing with my own eyes that everything I wrote in the script has come true." Why is the movie so resonant? Emergency Declaration got invested in approximately 19.2 million United States dollars, a figure significantly higher than many typical Korean disaster-themed movies such as The Tower, 2012, and The Flu, 2013, with less than $10 million. Even Peninsula, 2020, the sequel set in the post-apocalyptic setting of Train to Busan, also only needs an investment of 16 million United States dollars to be completed. Thus, Emergency Declaration shows the generosity of the producer to create an epic cinematic experience, targeting the foreign market. About the filming, some people think that it is too messy and chaotic, making viewers feel dizzy, but in fact, this is the factor that makes Emergency Declaration become so popular. It is the wobble, confusion, panic, and violent shaking that makes viewers feel so unprecedentedly real, causing great fear to invade the audience's minds and make them grit their teeth in every scene. I bet a lot of people after watching this movie will no longer want a fly smiley face. As for the cast, perhaps the biggest investment of Emergency Declaration is in them. The participation of the two most famous and experienced actors of Korean cinema, Song Kang-ho and Lee Byung-hun, is considered a guarantee of the quality of the film. The brilliant comebacks of Jeon Do-yeon, Park Hae-joon and Kim Nam-gil are also said to be sparkling highlights in the movie. Regarding acting skills, do I need to say anything more? The acting ability of the actors and actresses in the movie is indeed top-notch. They turn the fear of the main characters and the extreme stress of the people on the ground trying to save the flight into the fear and stress of ourselves, the audience watching the movie. The deep meaning of the movie. In Emergency Declaration, the spread of the deathly virus on an airplane quickly turned into a humanitarian disaster. No country is willing to risk the safety of its people to let Ki-501, now like a biological weapon, land on their territory. Rejection also comes from within Korea itself, as the society is divided by the question of whether to land the plane or not. Even the heads of the country find it difficult to answer. Whereas, the people stuck on the plane were left wondering about their own fate. They still have families, unfinished dreams, love, and a whole future ahead. They have the right to live and to receive help when in need. But they also seem to be no longer welcome and, conversely, asked to take the responsibility of making a great sacrifice. Along with the dramatic journey to track down the terrorist and find the antidote, Emergency Declaration also strangled the audience's hearts many times when posing contradictions about morality, humanity as well as ego. The movie script has many layers of events. We have a murder case where the culprit is still in the dark, a psycho is plotting a crime on the plane, a confrontation with shady corporations, an intense battle on the diplomatic front, etc. Connecting these sensational but discreet events is an emotional storyline about men who are willing to sacrifice their lives for their wives and children. In despair, In Ho is ready to use the most extreme way to protect his family. Jae-hyuk accepts to face the psychological trauma caused by his painful past and moves toward a bright future with his daughter. The movie's shortcomings. If replacing the plane with a train, Emergency Declaration does not make too much of a difference compared to Train to Busan. Both movies have men who sacrifice themselves for their families, quarrels that touch on contradictions in human nature, the hopelessness comes from those in charge, etc. Both works are critical of the indifference in modern society which is opposed to the immutable value of family love. The cinema world has had too many films about terrorist attacks and disease disasters in the air. Therefore, it is hard to blame Emergency Declaration for making the audience, at one point or another, suddenly think of Airplane, 1980, or Snakes on a Plane, 2006. In addition, the fact that Lee Byung-hun's character's identity was revealed very early in the first half of the film also made the audience's excitement for the third act decrease. Overall, Emergency Declaration is thorough in both images and content. The movie deserves to be one of the representatives of modern Korean cinema along with Train to Busan. Have you seen Emergency Declaration yet? How do you feel about the movie? For those who haven't seen it yet, grab your tickets and popcorn and hit the cinema right away. And if you want more videos like this, remember to like, share and subscribe to Bbali Drama. We'll come back soon. See ya!